Is she lying here in this post on X? Let's put it this way. We're talking about Rachel from accounts here. So what do you think? Hey up everyone and welcome to Political Nerds. I'm Steph the Alter Nerd, your nerdy political guide from Washington DC to Westminster and beyond. Now of course, before I jump into this, the usual disclaimer: do your own research, come to your own conclusions, and I'm not inciting hatred to anyone or particular group, religion, etc. So let's jump into it with this post from Rachel Reeves, otherwise known as Rachel from Accounts. And yeah, I got one simple question for you. Is she lying? Let's put it this way. Like I said, we're talking about Rachel from Accounts here. So what the hell do you think? Now, here in this post, she's saying that we have had the fastest growing economy in the UK within the G7 group for the first half of this year for 2025. But then says there's more to do to build an economy that works for the working people. Guys, at the budget, I'll take the fair choices to cut waiting lists, cut national debt, and cut the cost of living. Yeah, all right. Now, this is the thing. Is this true? Is this statement true? Kind of. She's cherry-picking the data here and therefore gaslighting us. So let me explain first with what is actually true about her statement. So the first thing that's actually true about her statement is, yes, the UK did have the fastest growing G7 economy in the first, of 2025. Absolutely. Here, as reported by Investment Week, the UK GDP had risen by 0.7% in Q1 of 2025, according to the Office of National Statistics, otherwise known as the ONS. It marked the highest level of growth seen in the G7 in Q1, followed closely by Canada, which had 0.5% growth, and Germany at 0.4% growth. And so, yes, it is true the UK had the highest level of growth within the G7. The thing is, though, this tweet here is insinuating that the UK is in a powerful financial position because we're the fastest growing economy in the G7. However, this is the bit where I'm saying she's cherry picking the data and therefore gaslighting us, right? Because the UK's finances are not as strong as she would have us believe in this post right here, okay? Especially when we have headlines like this. Yeah, Britain is heading towards an IMF bailout. So this is the thing. It doesn't matter if we're the fastest growing economy in the G7 for the first half of 2025, this, that, and the other. That means absolute shiz in the face of this warning right here that we are somehow, the UK, heading towards a freaking IMF bailout. And it ain't just anyone that's warning about this IMF bailout here. Oh, no. So we've got, high-level leading economists that are saying this. So we've got Professor Jajit Chadha, and if I've mispronounced his name, I do apologise. He stepped down recently as the head of the National Institute for Economic and Social Research. He claims the UK economy is at risk of collapse. He says our situation, quote, is perilous, the period leading up to the IMF loan of 1976. He says it's as perilous as the situation back in 1976. What the frick? But no. Rachel from Accounts would have you believe that everything is hunky-dory because we're the fastest growing economy in the G7. No, it's not. It's not at all. Because you've got high-level economists saying, no, we're heading for an IMF bailout. They're seeing the signs. that we had back in 1976. He told the When the Facts Change Substack, Liam Halligan, quote, "I'm in a world in which I could imagine an IMF bailout happening, and we'll be bereft in that case. We will not be able to roll over debt. We will not be able to meet pension payments. Benefits will be hard to pay out." Yeah. Yeah. For those that think, oh, an IMF loan, whatever. No, 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 no. No. Getting an IMF bailout is bad with a capital freaking B. We even have a former member of the Bank of England's rate-setting monetary policy committee speaking out on this. His name's Andrew Sentence. And he said this situation that we're in now financially in the UK is again very reminiscent of the 1970s. Adding, Rachel Reeves is on course to deliver a Healey 1976-style crisis in the late 2025 or 26. Like Healey, she has massively boosted public spending, borrowing and taxes, fueling both demand pull and cost push inflation. Unless policies are reversed, we are heading for an economic crash. We've still got bond yields that are even higher than the US. Then saying, which, to be fair, shivers down my freaking spine on this one, we're even higher than Greece when it comes to borrowing costs, which is an indictment of where the UK is at the moment, or where it's perceived to be by the financial markets. So we've got bond yields that are higher than the US. We're even higher than Greece, right? Yet, when you look at Rachel from Accounts' post here on X, her tweet here is insinuating that everything's hunky-dory, that the UK is in a powerful financial position because we're the fastest growing economy in the G7. Doesn't matter. That doesn't matter if we're the fastest growing economy in the G7 for the first half of 2025. It means absolute freaking shiz when you got top leading economists that know their shiz, that are turning round and saying, all the signs are there. History's repeating itself like 1976. If something does not change drastically, we are heading towards a freaking IMF bailout. We got bond yields that are higher than the US and even freaking Greece. That has got to tell you something. We are not financially hunky-dory in the UK. This is why I'm saying, is Rachel from Accounts lying with this post? She is in a way. She's cherry-picking data. She's therefore gaslighting us. Cherry-picking the data saying we're the fastest growing economy in the G7. Yeah. Don't matter when we've got freaking leading economists saying we're still heading for an IMF bailout anyway unless something drastically changes. And it ain't just the leading economists that are saying this, but even the leader of the opposition, Tory leader Kemi Badenoch, is also worried that the UK is headed for an IMF bailout. Here, the article saying, asked what made her think the UK is heading towards the need for an IMF bailout. She said, quote, a lot of the indicators are pointing in that direction. The indicators that the leading economists have been talking to us about in that article I just mentioned a couple of seconds ago. Referring to them, saying many very well-respected commentators and economists are saying this. Yeah. So, is Rachel from Accounts lying when she posted this out on X? Yeah, she is. She is. The data is correct. We have the fastest growing economy in the G7 for the first half of the year for 2025, absolutely. But she's lying, in my opinion, conspiracy theory, whatever, because her tweet's insinuating that the UK is in a powerful financial position because we're the fastest growing economy in the G7. However, UK finances are not as strong as she would have us believe, especially when we are getting headlines like this and leading economists and commentators saying, regardless that we're the strongest growing economy in the G7 for the first half of 2025, we're still heading towards an IMF bailout. Because we're seeing history repeat itself, just like what happened back in 1976. So, this, my response, liar, liar, freaking pants on fire. With that being said, if you appreciated this video and you want more, and unfortunately with the state of the UK at the moment, there's going to be more, then make sure you subscribe to join us here at Political Nerds. If you're watching on X, make sure you're following me at Steph Alternerd. Like, share, comment down below your opinion, conspiracy theory, whatever. Do you agree with me on this? You think that ultimately Rachel from Accounts is lying, insinuating that the UK economy is in a strong position when really, no, it is not. I mean, what do you guys think? Let me know in the comments down below. Thank you so much for tuning into this video. I appreciate all your faces. And until the next time, you guys, laters.